Hi everyone. Today I'm going to do a comparison between probably the two most popular passenger seat options for Redwagon. This is the deck pad. It costs €60 each. You can see it is quite well made, a leather-like finishing. This is called Rear Seat, or you can find it in many different names on eBay or Amazon. It only costs 1/4 of the deck pad. It looks fine on the top, a bit cheap at the bottom, but no one will notice. And it also comes with a backrest, which is quite handy in some situation. Now let's have a look in the dimension. The deck pad, according to the official website, it is 33 cm long and about 18 centimeters wide. Actually, it is more like 34 cm long. The rear seat is about 32 cm long. So imagine if you put it as a setup of front and back with the two deck pad or two rear seats, you will have 5 cm of difference. But then the rear seat is actually a bit longer because you can see from the backrest here, it has an L shape here which takes up quite a lot of space. So in the actual setup, the rear seat is actually longer than the deck pad, but having less cushioned area. In terms of the thickness, you can see that the rear seat is slightly thicker, but I would argue that it doesn't really feel much different when you ride on it. Now let's compare the width. The deck pad is obviously a bit wider than the rear seat. So you can see the difference here. Again, you can tell the difference by seeing it here, but when you ride on it, I don't think it really makes much difference. Now this is the interesting part. The mounting mechanism is very interesting. For the deck pad, you can see that it is a very convenient way to mount it or unmount it. It is a big clamp here. You can loosen or tighten it just by bare hands without any tools. It just fits perfectly under the rack on the Redwagon. Imagine you just use this plastic clamp, fit it into the square hole in the rack, and just tighten the screw here. This is really very convenient, and it is actually very robust. Now let's take a look at the rear seat. There are two mounting plates here. You can either mount this vertically or horizontally. That means it would fit many different racks. Unlike the deck pad, you certainly would need some tools to tighten the bolts. Otherwise, you will hear a lot of clanking sound while you're on the road. At the end of the seat, you can see 3 holes here, which is for you to mount the backrest. So imagine you put the backrest there, and then you just put a screw here and tighten it like this. Not very elegant, but it works. If you ask me which one I would like more, I would say the deck pad, despite it is a lot more expensive. In fact, it is 4 times more expensive. I particularly like the mounting mechanism of the deck pad, which is so easy and simple and maintenance free. For the rear seat, you always need to check the bolts to make sure that they are tightened and not making some clanking sound. The deck pad also gives more cushion area, which is a bit more comfortable. And imagine if you have a setup like this, with the rear seat in front and the deck pad on the back, you will see a major gap here between the two. If you do it the other way around, the deck pad in front and the rear seat on the back, and with a backrest here, it would be quite perfect. So you have the backrest together with the maximal cushioned area. Now, let me show you how they actually look like when you put them on the rear wagon. Now, this is a setup with the rear seat on the front and the depth pack on the back. Looking from above, you can see the difference between the cushion area. The depth pad has a lot more sitting space. Not just for sitting, but actually it's easier to climb up and down the bike. Looking from the side, you can see the cushion area is also a bit different here. The depth pad is almost perfectly aligned to the rest of the frame. Now let's take a look at the mounting mechanism underneath the seat. For the depth pad, it fits perfectly into this square mounting point here. For the rear seat, you actually don't have much choice because of the different thickness of the tubes here. There is only one way to mount it here. Now let's take a closer look between the gaps between the two seats. You can see the backrest actually extend quite a lot and press on the depth pad. It's still usable, just not as beautiful as you would have with two depth pads. Now let's see how the kids actually get on and off the bike. With a rear seat here, you can see the space is actually quite tight. If your kid is a bit larger, I don't think they can fit in very easily. For the rear seat, for the depth pad it is a lot easier because you don't have a backrest that blocks the space. Now how about getting down? Again, it is quite easy to get down from there, and he's kind of stuck here with the rear seat here. So just to conclude, if you want to maximize the cushion space, you will certainly go for the depth pad. But otherwise, the rear seat is actually quite a cost-effective option. The backrests also give you more safety protection if you have a younger kid. I hope you find this video useful.